Hi everyone, I'm Valerie Bang-Jensen. I'm professor of education at St. Michael's College. And these days, I'm spending a lot of time in my garden. Because I teach children's literature and with Professor Mark Lubkowitz of the biology department, started the teaching gardens at St. Michael's College, I am always seeing connections between flowers and books that they appear in. So today I'd like to share with you a few of the connections that I see between flowers and the roles that they play in books. So sometimes it's as simple as a character name. Some of you may know this lovely book called Chrysanthemum about a wonderful little mouse who adores her name until she goes to kindergarten, where everyone makes fun of it. In fact, they point out to her that her name is related to dirt and worms and uses 13 letters, which is half the number of letters in the alphabet. So Chrysanthemum is pretty disheartened, although buoyed by her supportive parents, until the music teacher reveals that she has a flower name too. Some of you will remember it's Delphinium. And immediately, all of the other students imagine what their flower names will be. Marigold, Carnation, Lily of the Valley. Mine would probably be Lupin. In a novel that was featured by the Vermont Humanities Council a few years ago as their Vermont Reads Pick, Iris is struggling to take over her family farm as it's seen a lot of hard times. And her name, I think, is especially appropriate because it's a very stalwart perennial, as is her farm in the Northeast Kingdom. And then we have Harry Potter. It's no accident that J.K. Rowling picked Petunia, a pretty ordinary name for Harry's aunt who lives on Privet Drive in a very ordinary setting. And yet the more ethereal Lily is the name of his dead mother. And similarly, in The Secret Garden, Colin's dead mother is named Lily, and the children in this book resurrect her garden. There's also some ways that books show flowers as the connection in generations. Here's one, Goldfish and Chrysanthemums, about Nancy, whose grandmother Nini grew up in China with a goldfish pond surrounded by chrysanthemums. And Nancy and her brother tried to help the mom recreate this in her new home. During the Great Depression, Lydia Grace Finch travels from her failing family farm to live for a year in a city with her taciturn uncle, who's a baker. And she collects seeds in the mail from her family and creates a rooftop garden. Some gardens appear in places where you don't expect one, like Lydia Grace Finch's on her rooftop. In fact, Nelson Mandela, when he was imprisoned on Robben Island, grew tomatoes. And there's a writer named Kenneth Helphand who has called these defiant gardens. Other people might call them guerilla gardens, where something grows in a place that's unexpected, often as a sign of protest. These two books, City Green and Wanda's Roses, both follow communities that come together, rallying around these two characters to create a flower garden full of roses, where there was little hope for one, to be honest, and grow vegetables in a way that harkens back to victory gardens from World War II. And we're seeing some of those come around in popularity again right now as people are trying to grow their own food. And finally, here's one of my favorites, Clara's New World. And this one, a very classic tale of younger generation leaving for the new world and the older generation unable to join them. Clara's grandfather gives her a little pouch of seeds to plant in the new world, which she does in Minnesota. And in an author's note, it's said that gentians all over the Midwest have come from seeds that came from Sweden. And I like to think that actually the grandfather knew that these seeds and flowers would be the botanical connection between the two generations. In this book, Flower Garden, a father and daughter plant a flower box for the mother's birthday, and everyone enjoys it as they go through. And finally, lots of lupins are out there now, which always makes us think of Miss Rumphius, who was charged by her grandfather to make the world a more beautiful place. And in fact, she spends most of the book trying to decide just how she'll do that until she lands on the idea of planting lupin seeds. So whether you have a garden or any of these books, I'm sure that you're going to encounter these dandelions, or as this author poetically calls them, stars in the grass. So I hope you enjoy your libraries and your gardens, and just know that when I'm out there weeding, I see way more than flowers. I see the stories that are planted right along with them.